Hey all, Scott here. Let's talk Tetris, specifically the NES version. This game is older than some of your YouTube subscriptions. It all started in 1984 with a dude named Alexei Pajitnov. He was a computer whiz living in the USSR. He loved puzzles and a game called Pentaminos. One day, bam, he created Tetris. Tetris was simple. 7 different shaped blocks fall down. You gotta rotate and drop them to make complete lines. No fancy graphics or explosions, just pure puzzle goodness. The game was a hit in Russia. People couldn't stop playing. It spread to other computers, but Tetris was about to get much, much bigger. Word of Tetris got out to the West. People were like, what is this magical game? Publishers wanted a piece of the action. A Dutch game designer named Henk Rogers saw Tetris. He knew it was special. He wanted to bring it to Nintendo's Game Boy. Meanwhile, Nintendo was launching the NES in America. They needed a killer app. Something to make everyone want their console. Guess what? Tetris was the perfect fit. Nintendo secured the rights. Get ready for some business jargon. It was a licensing deal for the home console market. 1989, a legendary year. Why? Because NES Tetris arrived. It came bundled with the NES. So, millions of people got their first taste of falling blocks. The game was an instant smash. The graphics were simple, but the gameplay was pure addiction. Remember, this was the 80s. We didn't have smartphones or fancy gaming PCs. NES was the king, and Tetris was its crown jewel. The music was catchy, the gameplay was easy to learn, hard to master. It was the perfect recipe for a gaming phenomenon. NES Tetris sold like hotcakes. We're talking over 35 million copies. It became the best-selling version of Tetris ever. People of all ages were hooked. Kids, parents, grandparents, even your weird Uncle Steve. Tetris wasn't just a game, it was a cultural event. People were having Tetris dreams. They saw falling blocks everywhere. It was like the world became a giant Tetris game. The game was so popular it spawned a whole bunch of merchandise. T-shirts, mugs, you name it. Section 5, a cultural phenomenon. Remember those cheesy 90s commercials? They loved Tetris. The game was everywhere. TV shows, magazines, you couldn't escape it. And you know what? Nobody wanted to. Tetris was like the coolest kid in school. The game's popularity transcended borders. It became a global hit. People were playing Tetris in America, Japan, Europe, everywhere. It was a unifying force. It didn't matter your language or culture. Everyone loved stacking those blocks. Section 6, Tetris takes the world stage, 1990. The Nintendo World Championships. This was a big deal. The best gamers from across America battled it out in different games, and guess what? Tetris was one of them. Can you imagine the pressure? Millions watching you play Tetris. The final round was legendary. 2 players head-to-head battling for Tetris supremacy. The tension was palpable. In the end, a young man named Thor Ackerlund emerged victorious. He became a Tetris legend. Section 7, the battle for the blocks. Remember those licensing deals I mentioned? Well, they got messy. Multiple companies thought they had the rights to Tetris. It was a legal free-for-all. Lawsuits were flying faster than Tetris blocks on level 99. Nintendo was in the middle of it all. They fought hard to protect their version of Tetris. And guess what? They won. It was a landmark case in video game history. It solidified Nintendo's hold on the console market. Section 8, Tetris Through the Ages. The NES version of Tetris was just the beginning. The game went on to conquer other platforms. Game Boy, Super Nintendo, you name it, Tetris was there. Each new version brought something new to the table. We got new game modes, new music, even new blocks. Remember the T-spin? That was a game changer. Tetris evolved, but the core gameplay remained the same, and that's the beauty of it. It's a timeless classic. Section 9, still stacking after all these years. So, where does NES Tetris stand today? Well, it's considered a retro gaming icon. People still play it on emulators and original hardware. It's a reminder of a simpler time in gaming. But Tetris itself is more popular than ever. There are new versions coming out all the time. You can play Tetris on your phone, your computer, even your smartwatch. The game has come a long way since its humble beginnings in Russia. But one thing remains the same. Tetris is awesome, and that's it. I'm out of here.